Muhammad Ali, born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr., entered the world on January 17, 1942, in Louisville, Kentucky. He was the first of two sons born to Cassius Marcellus Clay Sr. and Odessa Grady Clay. His father, Cassius Clay Sr., was a sign and mural painter, while his mother, Odessa, worked as a household domestic. Growing up in the racially segregated South of the 1940s and 1950s, young Cassius experienced the harsh realities of racial discrimination and segregation. Louisville, like many cities in America at the time, had segregated schools, restaurants, and other public facilities. Despite these challenges, Cassius' parents instilled in him a strong sense of pride, self-worth, and determination to overcome obstacles. As a child, Cassius was energetic, talkative, and full of confidence. He often recounted an incident from his childhood when his bicycle was stolen, prompting him to express his desire to whoop the thief. In response to his frustration, a police officer named Joe Martin, who also happened to be a boxing coach, suggested that Cassius learn how to fight before trying to confront the thief. This encounter marked the beginning of Cassius' journey into the world of boxing. Under the guidance of Joe Martin, Cassius discovered a natural talent for the sport. He quickly rose through the ranks of amateur boxing, winning numerous local, regional, and national titles. His success in the ring provided an outlet for his boundless energy and a platform to showcase his skills. In 1960, at the age of 18, Cassius represented the United States at the Rome Olympics, where he won the gold medal in the light heavyweight division. His victory on the international stage catapulted him to fame and set the stage for his transition to professional boxing. After the Olympics, Cassius turned professional and began his professional boxing career under the guidance of trainer Angelo Dundee. He won his first professional fight against Tani Hunsaker in October 1960, launching a career that would redefine the sport of boxing and captivate the world. Throughout his early years as a professional boxer, Cassius Clay dazzled audiences with his speed, agility, and flamboyant personality. His outspokenness, self-confidence, and ability to generate publicity earned him the nickname the Louisville Lip and made him a polarizing figure in the world of sports. In 1964, just weeks before his first world heavyweight title fight against Sonny Liston, Cassius Clay announced his conversion to Islam and his affiliation with the Nation of Islam. He adopted the name Muhammad Ali, which was given to him by the Nation of Islam leader Elijah Muhammad. Ali's conversion to Islam and his outspoken advocacy for civil rights and racial equality made him a lightning rod for controversy and criticism, but he remained steadfast in his beliefs and convictions. The early years of Muhammad Ali's career laid the foundation for his rise in prominence as one of the most iconic figures in sports history. His childhood experiences, coupled with his natural talent, unwavering determination, and commitment to social justice, shaped the trajectory of his life and set him on a path to greatness. Ali's conversion to Islam in the early 1960s was a pivotal moment in his life and career, profoundly influencing both his personal identity and his public persona. Ali's journey to Islam was a complex and deeply personal one, shaped by a variety of factors, including his upbringing, encounters with racial discrimination, and his growing awareness of the teachings of the Nation of Islam. Ali's introduction to Islam can be traced back to his childhood in Louisville, Kentucky, where he was raised in a predominantly African and American neighborhood. Despite the racial segregation and discrimination that surrounded him, Ali's parents instilled in him a strong sense of self-pride, dignity, and self-worth. These values would later intersect with his religious beliefs and shape his understanding of Islam as a religion of empowerment and liberation for African Americans. Ali's first direct encounter with Islam came in the early 1960s when he met Malcolm X, a prominent minister and leader within the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X, known for his fiery rhetoric and passionate advocacy for black empowerment, had a profound impact on Ali, introducing him to the teachings of the Nation of Islam and its leader Elijah Muhammad. The Nation of Islam, founded in the 1930s, espoused a unique interpretation of Islam that emphasized the upliftment and empowerment of African Americans. Central to his teachings was the belief in the divinity of Elijah Muhammad as the messenger of Allah and the importance of self-reliance, self-discipline, and economic independence. Inspired by Malcolm X and attracted to the Nation of Islam's message of racial pride and self-determination, Ali began studying the Quran and attending Nation of Islam meetings. In March 1964, shortly before his first world heavyweight title fight against Sonny Liston, Ali publicly announced his conversion to Islam and his allegiance to the Nation of Islam. He adopted the name Muhammad Ali, which was given to him by Elijah Muhammad, symbolizing his break from his slave name and his embrace of his African heritage. Ali's conversion to Islam sparked widespread controversy and backlash, particularly in the predominantly white mainstream media. Many saw his affiliation with the Nation of Islam as a rejection of American values and a threat to the status quo. Ali faced intense scrutiny, criticism, and even condemnation for his religious beliefs and political outspokenness. But he remained steadfast in his faith and convictions. For Ali, Islam became more than just a religion. It became a guiding principle that informed every aspect of his life and career. He saw himself not just a boxer, but as a servant of Allah and a champion for the oppressed. Throughout his career, Ali used his platform to promote Islam, challenging stereotypes and advocating for social justice, earning him both admiration and condemnation from people all around the world. Ali's conversion to Islam marked a turning point in his life, setting him on a path of spiritual enlightenment, social activism, and personal growth. It was a decision that will shape his legacy as not only one of the greatest athletes of all time, but also a fearless champion of justice, equality, and freedom. Muhammad Ali's struggles against racism were deeply intertwined with his identity as an African American and his unwavering commitment to social justice. From his early childhood in racially segregated Louisville, Kentucky, to his rising prominence as a world heavyweight boxing champion, Ali confronted racism and discrimination at every turn, both inside and outside the ring. Ali experienced the pervasive effects of racism firsthand. He attended segregated schools, lived in a predominantly black neighborhood, and witnessed the daily indignities, injustices faced by African Americans in his communities. These experiences left a lasting impression on Ali and fueled his determination to challenge racial inequality and fight for civil rights. Even as a young boxer, Ali encountered racism in various forms, both subtle and overt. Despite his undeniable talent and success in the ring, he faced discrimination from promoters, fans, and fellow athletes. He was often denied entry to restaurants, hotels, and other establishments because of his race, and he was subjected to racial slurs and taunts from opponents and spectators alike. Ali's decision to convert to Islam and join the Nation of Islam in the early 60s further intensified the racism he faced. The Nation of Islam's message of black pride and self-determination struck a chord with Ali, but it also made him a target of suspicion and hostility in the predominantly white mainstream society. Many saw his affiliation with the Nation of Islam as a rejection of American values and a threat to the status quo. Ali's refusal to be drafted into the US military during the Vietnam War in 1967 was perhaps the most significant moment in his struggle against racism. Citing his religious beliefs and opposition to war, Ali famously declared, "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong." His refusal to serve led his conviction for draft evasion, the stripping of his boxing titles, and a 3-year exile from the sport at the peak of his career. Ali's refusal to be drafted sparked a firestorm of controversy and condemnation, particularly in the predominantly white mainstream media. Many saw his actions as unpatriotic and treasonous, and he was subjected to intense scrutiny, criticism, and vilification. He faced threats to his career, his livelihood, and even his personal safety as a result of his stance against the war. In June 1967, Ali was convicted of draft evasion and sentenced to 5 years in prison and fined $10,000. He was stripped of his heavyweight title and banned from boxing for 3 years. Despite facing the prospect of imprisonment and the loss of livelihood, Ali remained steadfast in his convictions, vowing to appeal his conviction and continue his fight against injustice. Ali's case eventually made its way to the Supreme Court, where in 1971 his conviction was unanimously overturned on the grounds of procedural errors. The court ruled that the Justice Department had improperly failed to specify why Ali's application for conscientious objector status had been denied. The decision vindicated Ali and affirmed his right to freedom of conscience and religious expression. Ali's refusal to be drafted into the military during the Vietnam War was a courageous act of protest that resonated far beyond the world of sports. It made him a symbol of resistance and defiance against unjust authority, inspiring millions around the world to question the morality of war and the obligations of citizenship. His legacy as a fearless champion of peace, justice, and human rights continues to inspire generations to this day, reminding us of the power of individual conscience and the importance of standing up for what's right. Muhammad Ali's return to boxing after his ban in the late 1960s marked a triumphant comeback and a pivotal moment in both his career and the history of the sport. Following his exile from boxing due to his refusal to be drafted into the US military during the Vietnam War, Ali spent 3 years out the ring fighting legal battles and advocating for his principles. His return to boxing in the early 1970s was met with anticipation, controversy, and ultimately redemption. Ali's exile from boxing began in 1967 when he was stripped of his heavyweight title and banned from the sport after being convicted of draft evasion. During his absence, Ali remained active in the public eye, speaking out against the war, advocating for civil rights, and continuing to train and stay in shape in anticipation for his eventual return to the ring. In 1970, in New York, Ali's comeback fight took place on October 26, 1970 against Jerry Quarry in the Atlanta Municipal Auditorium in Atlanta, Georgia. Despite being away from the ring for over 3 years, Ali showed little signs of rust, dominating Quarry en route to a third-round technical knockout victory. The fight marked Ali's triumphant return to boxing and signaled to the world that he was still a force to be reckoned with in the heavyweight division. Ali's comeback was not without its challenges, however. In March 1971, he suffered his first professional defeat at the hands of Joe Frazier in the highly anticipated fight of the century at Madison Square Garden in New York City. The loss dealt a blow to Ali's ego and his hopes of reclaiming the heavyweight title, but it also set the stage for one of the greatest comebacks in stories in sports history. Ali's redemption came in October 1974 when he faced off against George Foreman in the historic Rumble in the Jungle in Zaire, now Democratic Republic of Congo. Despite being considered an underdog, Ali employed his famous rope-a-dope strategy, allowing Foreman to tire himself out before launching a counterattack in the later rounds. In the 8th round, Ali unleashed a flurry of punches that sent Foreman to the canvas, securing a stunning knockout victory and reclaiming the heavyweight title. Ali's victory over Foreman solidified his status as one of the greatest boxers of all time and cemented his legacy as a comeback king. His return to boxing after his ban was not just a personal triumph but also a testament to his resilience, determination, and unwavering belief in himself. It was a moment of triumph over adversity that inspired millions around the world and reaffirmed Ali's place in the annals of sports history. Muhammad Ali's life after retiring from boxing was marked by a continuation of his activism, philanthropy, and global influence. Despite stepping out of the ring, Ali remained an iconic figure whose impact extended far beyond the world of sports. In his boxing years, Ali continued to advocate for social justice, humanitarian causes, and religious tolerance, leaving a lasting legacy that transcends his athletic achievements. Following his retirement from boxing in 1981, Ali dedicated himself to philanthropy and humanitarian work, using his fame and influence to raise awareness about various social issues. He traveled extensively around the world, meeting with world leaders, visiting impoverished communities, and lending his support to charitable organizations and causes. One of Ali's most notable humanitarian efforts was his work as Global Ambassador for Peace and Understanding. He made numerous goodwill trips to countries around the world, promoting dialogue, reconciliation, and mutual respect amongst people of different cultures, religions, and backgrounds. His efforts to promote peace and understanding earned him numerous accolades and honors, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the United States' highest civilian award. Ali was deeply committed to philanthropy and charitable work, donating millions of dollars to organizations dedicated to providing humanitarian aid, promoting education, and advancing medical research. He was particularly passionate about supporting children's charities and organizations that focused on finding cures for Parkinson's disease, the neurological condition he was diagnosed with in the 80s. In addition to his humanitarian work, Ali remained actively engaged in his public life, speaking out on a wide range of issues including civil rights, racial equality, and religious tolerance. He used his platform to advocate for social justice and to challenge prejudice and discrimination in all its forms. He was especially vocal in his opposition to Islamophobia and discrimination against Muslims, speaking out against stereotypes and misconceptions about Islam and its followers. Ali's post-boxing years were also marked by personal challenges and health struggles. Parkinson's disease, which he was diagnosed with in the mid-80s, gradually took its toll on his body, affecting his mobility and speech. Despite his illness, Ali remained an inspirational figure, facing his condition with courage, dignity, and grace. Muhammad Ali passed away on June 3rd, 2016 at the age of 74, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire people around the world. His life and achievements serve as a reminder of the power of perseverance, compassion and conviction in the face of adversity. As a boxer, activist and humanitarian, Ali touched the lives of millions and left an indelible mark on the world that will endure for generations to come. Muhammad Ali's legacy is multifaceted and far-reaching, encompassing his achievements in the boxing ring, his activism for civil rights and social justice, his impact on global culture, and his embodiment of resilience, courage, and principle. His legacy extends beyond his athletic prowess to encompass his enduring influence on society and his role as a global icon of peace, tolerance, and humanitarianism. In the world of sports, Ali is widely regarded as one of the greatest boxers of all time. His unmatched combination of speed, agility, and skill revolutionized the sport of boxing and earned him countless accolades and honors throughout his career. He was a 3-time world heavyweight champion, winning the title in 1964, 74, and 78, and he participated in some of the most memorable and iconic matches in boxing history. Ali's impact on the sport of boxing transcended his athletic achievements. He transformed the image of the heavyweight champion from a mere athlete to a larger-than-life figure, captivating audiences with his charisma, wit and showmanship, both inside and outside the ring. His famous catchphrase, including "float like a butterfly, sting like a bee," and "I am the greatest," became synonymous with his persona and contributed to his legendary status. Beyond boxing, Ali's legacy is perhaps most profoundly felt in his activism for civil rights, social justice, and humanitarian causes. He used his platform as a world-renowned athlete to speak out against racial inequality, discrimination, and oppression, becoming a powerful voice for marginalized communities around the world. From his refusal to be drafted into the US military during the Vietnam War to his advocacy for racial equality and racial and religious tolerance, Ali's activism inspired millions and helped galvanize movements for social change. Ali's legacy also extends to his impact on global culture and society. He transcended boundaries of race, religion, and nationality to become a symbol of unity, resilience, and hope for people around the world. His charisma, charm, and magnetic personality endeared him to audiences of all ages and backgrounds, making him one of the most recognizable and beloved figures of the 20th century. Furthermore, Ali's legacy is embodied in his values of courage, determination, and compassion. Despite facing numerous challenges and setbacks throughout his life, including battles with racism, Parkinson's disease, and political persecution, Ali remained unwavering in his commitment to his principles and his beliefs. His resilience in the face of adversity serves as an inspiration to people everywhere, encouraging them to stand up for what is right and to never lose hope in pursuit of justice and equality. In summary, Muhammad Ali's legacy is one of excellence, activism, and inspiration. He left an indelible mark on the world throughout his achievements in the ring, his advocacy for social change, and his embodiment of courage and principle. His influence continues to be felt today, reminding us of the power of one individual to make a difference and to leave a lasting legacy of love, compassion, and humanity.